Hey y'all, welcome back to Mama's Kitchen with Maribeth. If you're new, I'm Maribeth. I'm just now getting some of these things started for my YouTube channel. I do have Mama's Kitchen on Facebook. If you are not part of our little Mama's Kitchen family, jump over there and join us. But anyway, today we're going to talk about pantry preparedness, and the reason is because with all of these storms that have hit other parts of our country, there are some things that we can do to be prepared in the event that something does happen that would cause us to lose power for an extended several days or a week or more. Back in 2010, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, who lived in Flippin, Arkansas, went through, I think, 13 days with no power. And so because they were older, they had prepared they had a lot of stuff prepared, and she had canned food and had a lot of stock of food, and she had a grill, so she did fine with that. So we're going to talk about some of the things today that you can do, some things that you need to stock up on if you don't already have them. But the number one rule is don't buy stuff that your family will not eat. Only buy the foods that your family likes to eat. Some of the basic and most staple things that you can have in your pantry are rice. My family actually likes this basmati rice. I store it in this Mylar bag. You can store it in quart jars or whatever, but white rice will store, if it's stored properly, it will store for years. And so brown rice will not. Brown rice will not store. It's only good for about 6 months because the oil's in it. Stock up on white rice, whether it's long grain rice, basmati rice, whatever kind of rice your family likes to eat. Get a supply in your pantry of rice. Rice and beans makes a complete protein. So the second thing you need to have in your pantry are beans. You can do dry beans, which I stored these. I have some stored in Food Saver, the bags that sucks the air out, so they're good for a long time. These are in my quart jar. But also, if you don't like to go to all that trouble to have dry beans, just get you a supply of canned beans and put them on your shelf. Open them up, and you can make a meal with beans and rice in a worst case scenario, right? Another thing you want to have on your shelves are an assortment of pastas, whether this is angel hair pasta. I use a lot of elbow macaroni, so that's a good thing to have. Also, egg noodles. These are non-GMO from Azure Standard. I buy a lot from Azure Standard because they are very conscious about food safety. And then, of course, you can also have the standard macaroni and cheese in a box that we've eaten for years. I don't really make that too much anymore, but in a pinch, when you're in an emergency situation, no power or whatever, or like in COVID, we couldn't get to the store because everything was kind of shut down. You're going to eat what you have in your house, and you're going to want convenience, right? Convenience. So those macaroni and cheese boxes, they're fine for convenient because you're not going to have probably very much access to any fresh fruits and vegetables. You may have some frozen ones in your freezer, but if your power's out, you're not going to want to open that freezer unless you have a generator. If you have a generator, that's something else, that's a good thing to have. But, so, an assortment of pastas, and of course, pasta sauce. We like this brand, Classico. And these jars, you can use them for canning because they're mason jars. So, you can, once you finish using that pasta sauce, rinse it out, put it on your shelf, and you can can with it. So, pasta sauce, assortment of pastas, would enable you to make food for your family. Another thing you want to have are going to be canned vegetables. Now you can can your own, I'm not much on canning vegetables. You can buy an assortment of vegetables and have them on your shelf in your pantry of the vegetables that your family likes, and also fruits. Even though, fresh is best, frozen is good. Canned is still good if you get it packed in water. Do not get, this one says 100% juice. You don't want to get that thick syrup fruit on your shelf because of all the sugar in it. Okay, for canned vegetables and canned fruit. Now we have to think about meat, right? You got to have meat. But you don't have to have meat. If you have beans, that's a protein. But if you want meat, okay, you can stock up on tuna. My husband bought this. I can't say that I've used it, but, I do follow some people who actually say Spam is good, and I know it probably is good. Excuse me. So you might want to have some Spam on your shelf. Canned chili. I prefer, homemade chili, but, canned chili on your shelf is not a bad thing to have. So then, of course, chicken. I only have canned chicken. This is called ugly chicken. You actually can it raw. It creates a broth, keeps on the shelf for a long time, but you can also buy, canned chicken in a can from the store if you prefer that. A lot of people don't want to can, meat, and that's about the only meat that I've canned. But, I've been well pleased with it. It's turned out really well. You can open it up, throw it in casseroles, soups, that kind of stuff. Canned chicken. Also, you want to get some dry milk. The low-fat dry milk or non-fat dry milk, this is non-fat dry milk, will stay good on your shelf if you keep it, in a cool, dry place for a long time. They probably have a date on there, but these dates, things last longer than these dates that they put on the cans. And of course, the last thing you want to be sure you have is salt and pepper. I use Celtic salt because I think it's better. It has minerals in it, and pepper and spices, because you're going to want to have some spices to add some flavor to these meals. Now, in a worst case scenario, when your power's out, you want to be sure you have an alternate mode of cooking. For example, a grill, or something that runs off of propane and not electricity. We have a grill, and that's what Carol had when they ran, when they had that 2 weeks almost of no power. She had a grill. She fixed breakfast, lunch, and dinner on that grill. Her grill had a side burner. She'd fix coffee in the morning on her grill, bacon and eggs or whatever she was fixing. She did it on the grill. Of course, they had a fireplace because I think it was the dead of winter, ice storm or something. But anyway, they managed fine. And that was for almost 2 weeks. Now, because of what she went through and because of what in Little Rock, where we lived at the time, we had an ice storm, and our neighborhood or our subdivision was without power for almost 2 weeks. I was in my hometown with my mother, who had had surgery at the time. My husband was in our home in Little Rock. He didn't fare as well because we weren't as prepared as Carol and Joe were. And so that caused me to write this cookbook, The Emergency Shelf, Preparing Convenient Meals in Inconvenient Times. This book has got recipes and a lot of, like in the appendix, it's got some things that you need to stock up on, to have on your shelf, and ways to use it, and even some menus. But anyway, this is a resource. And so I'm just showing it to you because, when we have an emergency issue, I hope we never do. We need to be prepared on the front end, because once something happens, we may not have time to prepare. I was reading an article that said in 4 meals, the shelves will be bare in the grocery stores. We can't depend on being able to get to the grocery store sometimes. COVID shut us down. I had groceries delivered to the door. Thankfully, we could do that. So, there are some other options out there. But anyway, so the purpose of this video is just to try to get you to think about things that you could buy in the store. And like I said before, do not buy anything that your family does not eat. Only buy foods that they do eat. The last thing I want to encourage you to do is stock up on water. Hopefully we don't even need the water, but if you've got dried foods, which I've got some dried foods, you have to reconstitute them before you can use them. Dried fruit, dried vegetables, whatever, dried onions, those kind of things. You'd have to have water. Plus, the federal government says you need 1 gallon of water per day per person, just for drinking and we're supposed to drink that much water. I don't get there, but that's how much we're supposed to drink. And then you still have to have water for washing dishes, cooking something, sponge bathing, or whatever that has to be done at the time. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope it caused you to maybe think a little bit about what you can put in your pantry. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know. And like I said, be sure that you, if you haven't followed us over on Facebook, it's Mama's Kitchen. And there may be more than one Mama's Kitchen over there, so be sure that I think at the end of the video, there will be a link that you can access that. Anyway, y'all have a great day, a wonderful weekend, and God bless you. Love you. Bye.